to be honest with you. I've never viewed any community as an ally to the black community ever. Ever, right? I'm not so much surprised as I am in awe of their boldness. You know what I mean? Like that, I'm not really surprised. I always knew the Latin community, how they were towards us, right? Now, I'm not saying that there aren't people of other communities that can be allies, but I've never considered any other community as an ally to black people. I'm saying it again in case I lost you. I'm not saying that there can't be people from other communities that are allies, but I've never considered another community as an ally, right? What's really interesting about the Latin community hating on black people is it's truly an unprovoked hatred, right? White people's hatred of black people is also unprovoked. We can go all the way back in history and yada, yada, yada. But like with the Latin community, it really doesn't make sense. Like,
it does make sense. And I think, again, this is a American thing, right? It only doesn't make sense in the confines of America. Who are the Latin people descendants of? Spanish. Some of the most racist people you will ever in the history. The Spaniards. Yo, they're demons, right? So it makes absolute sense. These are their ancestors. Now, in the confines of America, in American history, maybe it doesn't make sense, right? They came over from, as immigrants and whatever the case is. But in the wider historical context, it makes absolute sense. It makes absolute sense. Look at how they treat black people. They say Vinicius Jr. Look at how they treat black people in Spain, right? Vinicius Jr. just going through it, racism, just all the time.
for what reason are you hating on or beefing with a black person? Are they deporting your people? Are they hurting your people? Are they invading your people?
See?
Have they installed a a figurehead to control your country? Like what is your like
unpopular opinion?
See, everything he's speaking about is in the context of America, which obviously I get. America is the size of a continent, right? So a lot of people, that if you live there, that's your world view. But you have to look in the broader context to where these people hate come from. Just like trauma can be generational, hate can be generational as well. All of these different cultures disliking us, it's not a coincidence. When you say there's no reason for none of these cultures like us. We've done the least amount of bad things in the history that we know today. We've never done anything to white people. We've never done anything to Latin, to Asians, to South. We've never done anything to anyone. The only people historically who we've hurt is ourselves. So there's no reason for any of these communities to hate on us. They do because of slavery. Slavery and colonization. White people enslaved us. Arabs enslaved us. South Asians owned black slaves. East Asians were colonized by white people in which they love. And if you're pro-white, what are you gonna be? Anti-black. That's kind of how it works. Right? And Latins are just Europeans. They're descendants of Europeans. They're like mixed, European mixed with all the other stuff. But they are descendants of Spanish. Some of the most racist people ever. And this sentiment of, this also is a reason why the POC shit makes absolutely no sense. If POC is real, then we might as well just include everyone. Because I always say, how can I be in a group with Arabs who enslaved Africans for 1300 years and we're allies? Where? Where are black people and Arabs allies? This is not real. This is propaganda. There's no, even in Palestine, which is one of the most oppressed countries on the planet right now, they oppress black people. So, yeah. But more and more black people are coming onto this and they're dropping that POC shit because, again, there's no unity.
When I was growing up, it was wrong to call black people coloured. Yet Americans deem people of colour more appropriate than black. Yeah, let me just agree with you right here, Lauren, because I don't know when it became a thing to call black people people of colour, shortened to POC. Why am I being referred to as a POC? First of all, you see this is black and you see this is brown. Where did you even get that? If you were gonna change the name of black people, then you could have just called it brown people. Like, I'm literally brown. The term people of color just reminds me of when I used to learn in history about the segregated bathrooms, and one was for colors, one was for colored, and one was for whites only. Like, it's literally just that, but reversed to make it sound more like, you know, in nowadays. When I'm referred to as a person of color, I literally feel like I should be in the Skittles advert. Touch the rainbow.
Unpopular opinion, don't group me in with POC, I'm simply just black. I do not want to be grouped in with people who have slurs for me in their own language, but then you want to talk about how we're going to all unite and take down white supremacy? Leave that rubbish out. And if this video doesn't apply to you, then simply just ignore all what I'm about to say. A lot of POC haven't even addressed the own anti-blackness within their own cultures. They simply ignore it, or they laugh at it, or they embrace it. And then when racism comes against them, they want to turn to black people and expect black people to rise up and fight for them and expect black people to have solidarity with them. And then the next day, it'll be back to saying, I'm back to making fun of black people. I'm not going to stand for that. Black struggle is unique because there's no little guy for us to kick, you know, when we're feeling down. Whereas with other races is they have black people to kick down, because as anti-blackness is global, it is a global disdain and global hatred for black people.
For all y'all non-black people, I don't know if you know this, but we don't identify with that POC stuff. We is not people of color, we is black. Cause why is y'all in them comment sections talking about some POC this, POC that? I'm thinking you spelling PCOS wrong. I'm like, what does polycystic ovarian syndrome got to do with politics right now? What is we talking about? Because why is y'all keep on saying POC this, POC that? We black. They don't got nothing to do with us. Y'all won't even acknowledge the fact that we built this country foundationally with the culture of this country and the financial of this country. We built this motherfucker. And on top of that, immigrants coming to this country won't even acknowledge the fact that y'all wouldn't even be able to come over here if it wasn't for the civil rights movement that was led by black people. I don't think that y'all can really recognize that a lot of the advancements and the inventions that were made in this country were from black people. And y'all won't even acknowledge 400 years of slavery. Y'all keep on saying slavery is over. No, we is not people of color. We are black. And on top of that, just to be 100% frank with you, brother, sister, we call y'all white. You know what I'm saying? When y'all come over here, y'all immigrants come over here, I don't care if you Indian, Korean, Chinese, Hispanic, y'all be coming over here and assimilating in white culture and talking like y'all white and thinking that we going to identify with y'all as people of color. No, we don't even know y'all like that. Y'all over here trying to be white so bad, it don't even make no sense. That shit not even funny. Y'all trying to talk white. Talking about some come with me, and when I start talking like this, and when I start talking like that. We don't talk like that.
What?
We ain't one of y'all. We ain't even close to one of y'all. Y'all want to be white. And we don't even want to be with y'all like that. You know what I'm saying? We got our own issues. Intersectionality, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So when you come over here and you trying to be white, I know some cool Indian people, some cool Korean people, some cool Hispanic people that don't try to be white. But the rest of y'all, you know, and if you one of the cool people, you know your family like that. So, you know what I'm saying? We not even rocking with y'all like that. And a lot of Hispanic people don't even recognize that they white. Like, what are you talking about? DNA, like genetically, you're a white man. You're a white woman. Yeah. Those people came over here from Spain, Spaniards.
That is a fact. Latin is not a real thing. It's not a genetic thing. You break down, it's like Caribbean. It's not a real thing. You break down these people's genetics and they're from a whole different set of places, right? Mostly European.
Inbred in your country. Argentina, Guatemala, Uruguay. Like, a lot of y'all don't even, I'm not even white. Yeah, yes you are. We can see you. You know we can see you, right? So don't come over here with that nonsense. We don't identify with that POC stuff. We black. Everybody POC till a black person found in a tree in the South, and now it's just crickets. Oh, yeah. Y'all do y'all thing, we gonna do our thing. Until y'all start speaking up for us and acknowledging what we did for this country and what we still doing to this day, then how about you just keep us out of it?
A lot of people don't know how influential the civil rights movement was. And it's why when I see the Martin Luther King slander, even though I get it in terms of most people now prefer Malcolm X, right? But what they did with the civil rights movement is global. I wouldn't be in England recognized as a human being if it wasn't for the civil rights movement. You know, like it did a lot for a lot of people.
A lot of people will never understand why I take offense to the term POC, person of color. But the fact is, I'm not playing into this white superiority complex of white people versus the rest of the world. That's exactly what white supremacists want. I'm not going to be defined by how white I am, and I don't think anyone should be. It's like making whiteness the default and everyone else is lumped together, but it's like, what's the similarity between me and an Indian person or me and a Chinese person?
Nothing.
What, like, because last time I checked, the white Chinese people are closer to white people in skin tone than I am. I don't get that. I feel like if coloured is bad, this is equally as bad. And I hate it when people virtue signal like to say, well, you know, POCs, I think it makes more sense to call people racial minorities or refer to people by what race they are, period. Grr. I just feel like we need more inclusion in the world as a human race. I don't like how people claim they're fighting to end racism, meanwhile they're using racial terms which divide people based on their race. Michael Jackson said it doesn't matter if you're black or white. It's like...
Shouts out Michael Jackson, okay? But unfortunately, we live in the real world, and it does matter if you're black or white. That's just a fact.
And one thing I'll never do is say people of color when I'm talking about black people. If I'm talking about or to black people, I will say I'm talking about or to black people. Oh, you gotta be more inclusive. You gotta be more inclusive. What about people? I'm talking to black people. And when I'm talking to them, I'm gonna say that. When I'm talking about us, I'm gonna say that. People of color, that's everybody in the world. Amazing. Nothing wrong with that. But when I'm talking to my people, I'm gonna say that. And you're not gonna make me feel bad about it either.
I'm black. Don't call me a person of color when referring to me. I was having a conversation with someone who's Latino, and he was like, you know, the people of color need to come together. And I was like, I'm not a person of color, I'm black. And he was like, well, we're all people of color. And I said, that is a political definition that they put on everyone to make an umbrella to lessen the effect of all of our individual histories with this country. I said, there is nothing that Latinos and Asians and Arabs have in common with the descendants of those formerly enslaved black people in this country. There's nothing you have in common with us because our history is unique here, just like Native Americans' histories are unique here. And he said, well, you know, that sounds really divisive. I said, it's not divisive because at the same time that I'm saying this, Latinos and Asians are two of the groups that usually are like centrist or right, and they voted for what's happening right now. Black people...
Even black people globally, right? And there are a lot of people who, you know, I'm very pro-diaspora, right? But a lot of people who are pro-diaspora, they make this big mistake by lumping all of us together. And by doing that, you're erasing history because we're not the same. Like, we don't have the same history. Our history changed as soon as we got off that boat, right? Well, that's Caribbeans and African Americans, but Africans as well. Our history it's just different. We've been through different things. Doesn't mean that we don't have shared experiences, because we do. Doesn't mean that we aren't the most alike, because we are. But acknowledging differences is important because these are things that should be like praised. We should praise our history, right? And by lumping everyone together, you're diminishing that. And that's amongst black people. Yeah, the idea that you're lumping me in with, like, come on, man, that doesn't even make sense. that generally doesn't make sense.
People's voting rights being under attack is something that all minority groups should care about because it impacts all of you. It dawned on me that a lot of you think this isn't your fight and that you don't have to care about it because it's happening to black people. But the majority of the rights that you guys benefit from as immigrants in this country, or as Latinos, or as Asians, or as Arabs, as Muslims, everybody benefits from the fight that black Americans did for our own rights. The foundational civil rights struggles of the 19th and 20th century dismantled systemic discrimination and established a multiracial framework of equality for all inhabitants of America. The 14th Amendment, birthright citizenship, equal protections under the law and due process. The Voting Rights Act, the very thing that's being attacked right now. The 15th Amendment. There's so many things that people who immigrate to this country are not aware of, and I think this should be a part of the standardized testing to become an American as an immigrant from somewhere else. You should take black...
Why is this not taught in schools? Why is it not taught in schools? I feel like this is like a huge part of not only American history, but global history. This is something that, I was going to say something that America should be proud of, but America hates black people. But this is what the black Americans did literally affected everyone. It should be taught in schools.
American studies and black American history just to learn the actual history of the fight that has happened for civil rights and equality in this country. But yeah, and when it comes to being that umbrella blanket terminology of person of color, I think you'll be hard pressed to find a black person who would want to fall under that umbrella, because so much of what has happened to black people and the reality of black people and just the hardness of what anti-blackness and how that's embedded into our society, you'd be hard pressed to find that your experience as a Latino or your experience as a Muslim or your experience would mirror ours. Your experience is still valid because racism, Islamophobia, all these things exist for you for sure, because America is a racist country through and through. But our experiences are inherently different. I would implore all of you, especially Latinos and Asians, please keep yourself abreast of what's happening in the South right now, because if our voting rights get taken away, so do yours.
One thing I'll say is this, or the final thing I'll say. A lot of this POC nonsense, it gives me the same energy as the shrinking of Africa on all the maps, right? Making us smaller than what we are, making us feel smaller than what we are, making us feel like we need all these other people to align with to have power or influence. No, we don't. No, we don't. In reality, all black people need is other black people. If we united properly, right, and Africa, again, I always go back to Africa, we are the most. I'll say again, we are the most. There are more black people than any other people on the planet. If Africa was what it was supposed to be, that's all we'd need. Other black people, we'd be good. Unfortunately, that isn't the reality. But even though it isn't, I ain't no damn POC. Okay.
This liquor got me in my zone. Now I'm blowing up your phone. Blowing weed, smoking the ozone. I just can't let this go. This liquor got me in my zone. Now I'm blowing up your phone.